The second focal point I'd like to go over with you is called fingertip orientation. So starting with that first hand-high pull-up position, setting your hands lightly on top of your box for the early vertical forearm. Notice where the fingertips are oriented. They're oriented straight forward. Now, if I was to be swimming in the water or on the ergometer, my hands would be out here, and then once again, it would be pointed straight down, or if you're in the pool, that would be the bottom of the pool. So what we're doing here is we're looking at a fingertip orientation that is straightforward. And why we do this is because this is where you have actually the most power, the most access to your power. So to demonstrate this, I've invited Tim to come back. So Tim, start up with your hands up like you're going to do a pull-up, okay? Now set your hands lightly on top of your box, and then lower it down. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be testing Tim's strength. So Tim, press down right here. All right, when Tim does this, he's pretty strong right there. All right, now what we're looking at is his fingertips are pointed inward or slightly down, just in that right spot. Now where Tim is not very strong is this. So Tim, go ahead and straighten out in your arms and press down, flex. There we go. All right, lost a lot of power, huh? All right, so now we also could take those fingertips, we can point them outward. Press down, lost the power again. All right, now fingertips, let's point them inward. Press down, there we go. Not very much power there either. Let's go back to that number one spot right there, right here. This is where you're looking at your most power. Notice also when I step away and he keeps his hands up there like that, that's the early vertical forearm that we talked about earlier. So notice the fingers are pointed towards the front, not in, not out, and not crossed over. Now, earlier we talked about the dropped arm or dropped elbow. So if Tim has his fingertips pointed forward, he's now just dropped his elbow. So now we're going to take the hand back this way. Now, one thing we have to watch out for is what happens if Tim lets his hand get in front of his elbow. This is really problematic to the upper shoulder right here, the rotator cuff. What happens here is if Tim starts his pull, he gets into this position, and he lets his hands get in front, he's going to do what's called internal rotation. Now, I'm not sure if any of you had a Ken and Barbie doll when you were a kid. I know I did. And I know that Ken and Barbie doll's arms, they went round and round, but unfortunately, Tim's does not. So if Tim gets into this pull, lets his hands get in front, he's going to be internally rotating, which could potentially tear up the rotator cuff. So basically, the finger point orientation is a visual cue that's going to say, look, I'm in the right place to get the most power out of my stroke. Point the fingers in, excessively so. That's not going to be getting as much power. Straight back out, way out wide. Not good. And let's just go right back to the good power, okay? Now also to demonstrate earlier, we did the dropped elbow. So we'll drop the elbow position. Now the fingertips are pointed forward. Also not good. And then the last one, which is the most potentially damaging, the internal rotation. And this is what you really want to watch out for. Because as a swimmer, you want to be able to do this sport for a really long time. And if you tear up your rotator cuff early in your career, you're not going to be swimming when you're 99. So ideal location is high elbow, fingers pointed at the bottom, and as you bring this pole back, the armpit closes down.